You just say, I have limits on my knowledge, and therefore there must be something that doesn't. That's your argument.
Well, okay, all right. So let me see if I can demonstrate. So basically, I mean, I can't ask you guys to tell us where, you know, human life came from, or where life came from, or where the start of the universe came from, right? Y'all guys, you don't know, right? I don't know.
No.
I don't personally.
Well, we have really good scientific explanations for what's probably happened.
Yeah, we know what we have, we have a really good idea of what possibly happened. But
Sure.
the thing about it is, if you know, and I ask so, and here's the question: if you and maybe this is where you guys are coming from, and this is all right. If you had the option to, and this is where we're probably going to generate the semantics, and we're both going to be right. But if there's something that stops you from going any further and from refining your idea of what happened at the beginning of time.
The fact that I don't have a time machine?
Yeah.
Well, like I'm talking about, like when we get back to the Big Bang and everything like that, we talk about the Planck era and all that kind of stuff. I assume you guys know what that stuff is,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so all we can do is we can kind of try to figure out what goes on there, and we can't get any better resolution on it because we honestly don't know. There's a limit to what we can do with that.
Yeah, and you're saying that there's somebody who does know.
And I'm saying that with us, with human beings, it's impossible for us to know, but there must be something out there that did happen.
Yes, I agree.
Something happened.
Something happened,
Yes.
but that's not what you're saying. You're saying that it's impossible for us humans to know, but there must be something out there that does know.
Right.
Well, how do you make that declaration?
I assume
you
assume
assume there's a God. That's your argument. You assume there is a God. And
there is a God.
And my only response to that is, I don't operate on those kinds of assumptions, and I don't see why anybody would. Here's the thing. I care whether or not my beliefs are true. I want to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible. And if I operated under the criteria that you're operating under, I would find myself subject to believing all sorts of gullible things that you would probably dismiss as irrational. And yet,
right, and I'm
you're
scared as hell
comfortable
of that,
doing this.
I know it can happen.
And yet, why do you make an exception for this one belief that you have?
Because I have to know.
Well,
But you don't
congratulations, Brooks. You still don't know. You just fooled yourself into thinking that you know.
Right, but
okay.
responsibly doing with the best I can possibly do, and given that I am,
I think
sober,
you can do better.
I am doing the best I can do. I want a little bit more.
I think you can do better, and I think the fact that you want more is great. Now go out and get more, and stop just assuming that you have an answer.
But at a certain point, I find that my human efforts are inadequate.
Yeah.
And so I must trust in something.
Trust
That is the
yourself.
most naked explanation I can do to get more.
What is it that
because
you're trusting in? What is it that you're trusting in?
My explanation that God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent.
So it's a big security blanket.
And that those things, there is a collection of all of those things in this dimension, whatever you want to call it.
You've just described a security blanket.
Yeah.
A security blanket, like faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's so what I do, and I mean, okay, I'll call it a security blanket. Okay. So what I do with that security blanket is I use that to quiet all the fears that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding these other people that come out and say that if I don't believe in, if I don't go genuflect, if I don't go to church on Sunday, then I'm going to for all eternity. I use that to prove them wrong. And in the end, that's all that I really use that faith for, to disprove people that would threaten me with that knowledge.
Dude, I think that's the most honest response anybody's ever given.
Yeah, I have to have that faith so that I can use it to defend myself against people that would threaten me with it.
And actually, I'd like you to get to the point where you don't have to have the security blanket, because the people who are threatening you, don't have any evidence on their side. They haven't met their burden of proof. By all rational standards, they are delusional, and they have bought into something that is poisoning their mind, and it's nothing to actually be afraid of. What you should be afraid of is what these people do when they get in power here and now to affect our lives, not what they threaten you with after you're dead. When you're dead, you're dead.
Right. But the thing about it is that they, is that, and this is respectfully where I differ with atheism again, is that if I don't acknowledge, is basically, because I think I would say that the position of atheism is completely disregarding their point of view because it's wrong.
Completely disregarding whose point of view?
The theist point of view that we need to carry out God's will.
I'm disregarding a good chunk of their point of view,
Right.
because it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you
Right.
don't you think we should disregard and oppose
I
things
think-
that are
I
wrong
think-
and unsupported by evidence?
I think we should, but we have to fight. But and while we like to think that we have the moral high ground, I remember your last call. You were talking a lot about morality.
Yeah.
Is that we have to have a moral high? Is that we have to have a moral high ground in the sense we have to. We can't just assume that we have the moral high ground and choose not to fight them on their beliefs. We have to be on their level, and that means we have to believe in a God in order to
No, we
challenge
don't.
them
No, we don't.
on that.
I don't have to be on their level. I don't have to believe in a God to let the world know that the Pope is an ignorant idiot when he says that condoms make the AIDS crisis worse.
I know, it's horrible. It's
I
really
don't.
horrible.
I don't have to believe in a God to let the world know that the representative from Illinois is a moron for walking in and reading from Genesis to say we don't need to worry about climate change.
I
don't
agree.
have to believe in a God to let people know that people like Fred Phelps, who want to run around picketing funerals, are just evil pricks who deserve no consideration, and we should stop giving them television coverage. I do not have to sink to their level to do that. What this idea is, this is a product of the culture that we live in right now, where everything needs seemingly to be dumbed down. Everybody needs to get down to this level. Screw that. I want to bring them up to the level. I want to bring them up. Why on earth would you want to get down and crawl around in the mud with people who are eating it when you could pull them out of the mud, wash them off, and give them a sandwich?
Because they think that we're the ones crawling around in the mud.
And
they're
that's
wrong.
where you actually have to do some
And
work.
in reality, we don't know if we're the ones crawling around in the mud or if they are.
No, but what
No,
we do know is that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about whether or not a God exists. I'm not claiming I know that. I know that their claims are not supported by evidence.
Right. But and remember, you kind of got me, and you said that my claims weren't really supported by evidence either.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can definitely say that to the best of my I guess ability and my best of my knowledge, I can't be proven wrong on this. Just as
You're
I
right.
can't prove that I can't.
It's not our burden to prove you wrong.
You're right.
It's your burden to demonstrate that you've got some evidence to back up your claims.
You know how many
Yeah.
beliefs you could possibly have where you could just say, you can't prove me wrong, and therefore I'm going to stick with it? Do you realize that that's the basis for everything in cryptozoology? That that's the basis behind any alien UFO abduction thing, the reptilian conspiracy, every conspiracy theory, it's all on the you can't prove I'm wrong, so I'm going to cling to it. Let it go.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But a lot of it is, and we can. Well,
Hey,
I guess
Brooks,
I guess we can't really prove that. Yeah.
I appreciate the call, but we've had 2 calls, and we got like 14 minutes left in the show, so I'm going to let you go so we get to some of
Thank
the
you guys
others.
so much.
Thanks a lot for calling,
Thank
Brooks.
you.
I appreciate it.
Bye bye.